All right.
All right. Well, welcome to Choosing a Career, How to Get Started. So glad to have so many of you with us today. As we said a few minutes ago, for those of you that came early, I'm Dr. David Gerkin. I'm counseling faculty at Glendale Community College, and your moderator, Dr. Lynn Brysacz, is also counseling faculty at Glendale. What I do at Glendale as a career counselor, I teach career and personal development or CPD courses, and I meet individually with students to help them sort through career, academic, and personal issues as they navigate their way through college. My colleague, Dr. Lynn Brysack, will be your moderator. She'll be working behind the scenes to make sure everything runs smoothly. Admit those of you who may pop in a bit late and help run some of the activities. So pay no attention to the woman behind the curtain, but we need her. She's very valuable. I'll share the PowerPoint slides by posting them in the chat at the end of the workshop, but I encourage you to take notes as we go along because taking notes helps you remember and internalize what you're learning. If you want to get the slides, be sure to stay till the end of the workshop so you can download the slides before you leave. All right, let's start with looking at two people and their work situations. Jane is an advertising executive. She makes $150,000 per year. She has a good benefit package, sick leave, all kinds of benefits, plus 6 weeks of paid vacation per year. She works in a high-rise office suite with a beautiful view of the city. John is a fast food cook. He makes $12 per hour, which is the minimum wage in his state. He works part-time. He has no benefits. He has no vacation. He works over a hot grill all the time he's at work. His view is pretty much the wall in front of him. So, who do you think has a career and which one has a job? I'm going to ask you to write in the chat. I'm going to allow a minute or so for you to write in the chat. Just write down Jane or John. Which one do you think has a career? So you could write Jane, career, John, job, or vice versa. And Dr. Mitzi Brysack
Mostly
will.
we're seeing Jane, career, John, job. Lots
Okay,
of
so
people
you're
are responding.
you're getting some responses. Good.
Yes.
We'll give a few more seconds for those of you who haven't responded yet to do so.
Everyone's in agreement so far. There's consensus.
Great.
Great, but stay tuned. Okay, it looks like the responses have stopped.
Okay. All right. Well, does it still look like all or most have said Jane has a career and John has a job?
Everybody, yes,
Everybody.
100%.
Okay. So here's some additional information to give you a more full, clearer picture. Jane hates her job. She works 60 hours per week, and the high stress of the job has given her ulcers. She doesn't quite fit in with her coworkers, and sometimes she struggles to meet the minimum requirements of her field. Jane would gladly earn half as much money if she could do what she really dreams of, owning a small bed and breakfast in the country. John, on the other hand, loves his job. He enjoys the fast-paced environment and likes his coworkers. He's great at what he does. While the money and hours aren't great, he'll be able to pursue a degree in business while he works. His long-term goal, he wants to someday own a fast food franchise and earn big bucks in the field he enjoys, just like his boss, whom he respects. Now, I want you to reconsider who is really on a career path and why. You don't have to change that in the chat, but I just want you to think about that. John's path reflects and rewards his values, his interests, personality, and skills. Jane's job, on the other hand, is in conflict with who she really is and what she really wants out of life. You see, a job is just a series of tasks or activities that are performed within the scope of what we call work. So a job is what we do. A career, on the other hand, is a sequence of attitudes and behaviors associated with work, and they relate to our total life experience. So a career is who we are. According to Donald Super's self-concept theory of career development, when our values, interests, personality, and skills are integrated within our job activities, this is a career. And this is what John's situation illustrates for us. Okay, now it's time for Career Mythbusters. You may have seen the TV show Mythbusters. Well, let's bust some career myths. Myth number 1, wrong button. Let's try that again. Myth number 1, there is one and only one perfect career for every person. Actually, there are many careers that would be good for you and would fit your values, interests, personality, and skills, or what I call VIPs, because of course you are a very important person. You're going to be hearing me say VIPs throughout this workshop, so I'll always be referring to values, interests, personality, and skills. Myth 2, I better make the right choice because I'll be in this career the rest of my life. Wrong. Most people change careers 3 to 5 times or more in their lifetimes. So think of the career you choose now as your first career. And finally, myth number 3, choosing a career is quick and easy. But no, not true. Choosing a career is a process. It would be nice if you could come to see me and I could look into my crystal ball and say, you should be an engineer and you should be a teacher. But in reality, finding a career that's a good fit for you is a process. It involves learning about yourself, the world of work, and finding a match between the two. So now that you know that choosing a career is a process, let's discover where you are in the process. Dr. Mitzi Brysacz will bring up a poll. So while she's doing that, I'll read you the choices. I'm going to ask you to choose, I have no idea what I want to do for a career. I have a few possible careers in mind. I see you're answering already. Good. I'm pretty sure what I want to do, or I know the exact career I want. So I'll have you go in there and we'll take a look at the results after you've all responded. Okay, it looks like some of you have not responded yet, so please go on the poll and click on one of the 4 choices. I'm seeing that 83% have voted so far.
There is one who has responded that he can't see the poll, so it might be several are saying that. So we might just go with what we've got. Sorry that you can't see the poll, folks. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got most people. We've got about 90%. So if Dr. Mitzi Brysacz will end the poll, we can look at the results. You can all see the results, I believe. Yeah. So what we're seeing here is that 59% of you said you have a few possible careers in mind. So that tells me you're somewhat undecided. Some are pretty sure, so you're still somewhat undecided. That's 22%. 16% have no idea what I want to do for a career. Only 3% of you know at this point the exact career you want, which is not surprising because most people that come to one of these workshops or take one of our classes or come see us individually for counseling, they're somewhat undecided. So you're in good company. You know, if you've said, I have no idea, we hear that all the time. That's fine. You're not expected to know when you're starting college, or even if you're in your second year. It's better to know by the end of your first year, and we're really encouraging you to do that at Glendale Community College. It's going to make your college career much easier. It's going to make you be on the right pathway and not have to be on a pathway that you'll change later, and then maybe some of your classes won't count. So that's why we're doing this career workshop, to get you started off on the right foot. So let's learn a little bit more about the career process and where we go from here. You
I
may
got
need to
rid of the
close your,
poll. I
yeah,
did close the poll,
you did
so
close it. Okay.
okay.
I'm not sure if they need to close the poll window or not, but
If it's still there for anybody else, you should be able to have a red circle you can close it with.
all right. So, the career process. Why is this such a big deal? Well, it can help you no matter how sure you are of your future career. It doesn't matter where you are in the process. If you said, I'm totally undecided or I'm somewhat undecided, it doesn't matter. Even those of you who said, I really know exactly what career I want, the process can help you as well. Um, so let's get into the next bullet. It can lead you to a career that is satisfying. You may spend much of your life in the career you choose. You remember in the myths I said you won't necessarily spend your whole life in one career. Most people don't these days. As I said, 3 to 5 or more careers is typical. But you're going to spend many years in the career you choose, in the first one you choose after college. So it's smart to make an informed choice and choose a career that's a good fit for you. Also, it's likely to increase your motivation and your success in college if you know your career. It's hard to get there if you don't know where you're going, right? An informed career choice helps motivate you to do the hard work you need to do in college and get you to that career you want. Also, it can help you develop or confirm relevant educational plans. If you started at GCC in the fall, you were asked to choose a field of interest, which is a general career area. You may or may not have chosen a specific major that leads to one or more careers, but you're starting that process. So you're going to have to choose a major if you haven't, a degree and or a certificate, as well as deciding which college or university you're going to transfer to if you're working on a transfer degree. So the career is the essential first step in making all of those plans. Also, according to a recent Gallup survey of American workers, more than 72% said if they could start over, they would get more information about career options. Fewer than 36% said they started their present career because they made a conscious choice or followed a definite plan. Only 50% said they like their present job enough that they don't want to leave it. So if you don't want to just end up in a career because you knew someone or you kind of just fell into it, which is what about half of the people on the survey said they did, then it's really great that you're here at this workshop because you're starting out getting more information so that you can make a plan and make an informed choice. The acronym I use for the career process is AIM: Assess, Investigate, and Match. The career process starts with the most important person in your life, you, yourself. So the first step is to assess your values, interests, personality, and skills. There's those VIPs again. And these aspects, the aspects of the careers that fit you. You'll investigate the careers that fit one or more of your VIPs, and then you'll learn about the career itself, the job duties, the pay, the job market, the education and training needed, and more. Finally, you'll consider all you've learned about the careers that match up with your VIPs and choose a career that's a good fit for you. Sounds easy, right? Well, not so much. This is just an overview, and there's a lot more to the process. We'll go into it more deeply as we go along. Remember, you learned that the first step in the career process is to assess yourself. So let's start with an informal assessment. I want you to reflect on these questions, and Dr. Mitzi Brysacz will be opening a Padlet. You'll be able to post your responses there.
The link to the Padlet is in the chat. So if you click on that, you will get to a Padlet. There is a plus sign underneath each one of those prompts. And if you have something you'd like to say, you could put it under the prompt that it goes with.
Okay, you can answer any or all of these questions. I encourage you to answer as many as you can in the couple of minutes we have allotted for this. If you are taking my advice at the beginning and taking notes, you might want to jot down your thoughts on paper first or just type them directly into the Padlet. Think about the previous jobs you've had or maybe your current job and what have you learned about yourself from that experience. And if you didn't have to go to work or school, how would you spend your day? What are the things you love doing and the hours fly by when you're doing that?
Great. So we do have some people
I'm seeing
answering
that,
on the
yeah.
Padlet. So far, the most popular question is from my previous work experience. What have I learned? Good at customer service. I'm compassionate.
Yep, I see people are typing in lots of responses, so that's great. So keep on. We have a little bit more time.
So
Good, lots of
just to
responses.
see a little bit, I'll just scroll down a bit so people can see. I'm more quiet at work than I am at school. Good organizer. Enjoy fast pace, like to help people. I don't enjoy working with the public, open to new experiences. Some people are patient, some people find they're not as patient. People like volunteering or traveling, going to the gym, playing golf or video games, painting, drawing, being online, spending time with family. The qualities you admire in somebody: hardworking, humble, generous, inner strength, empathy, humility, goes out and does things rather than just thinking about them. Quite a few responses. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
great responses.
Do you want any more, Dr. Gerkin, or it seems as though they've stopped coming in?
Okay, well, that's good. We can let me talk about a few of these before we move on to the next slide.
Mm.
What you're getting at here as you're learning more about yourself, you're really beginning to get to these VIPs, values, interests, personality, and skills. When I see things like hardworking and selfless and humbling, assertive, some of those things are values, and some of those things are personality traits. And things that you've learned from your previous job. You love working with others. You like to work around people. Maybe you're not as patient as you thought. You're open to new experiences. Some of those things get at what are the values in relation to a work environment, right? Some of you love spending time with family or having some free time. Well, that relates to your career choices in terms of the fact that some careers require a lot more time commitment than others. Some careers are typical 40-hour a week and you get weekends off. Some are lots of weekends, night work, travel. Some are 40 hours a week, some are 60 or more. Some are whatever it takes, more than 60 even sometimes. So it depends on all of these responses, your values, what you really value. Um, Not only what you're going to value in the job duties that you'll be actually doing on the job, but the kind of work environment you're in. Is it a big company, a small company? Is it formal? Is it informal? Are there challenges? Uh, are there risks that you can take? Is it more play it safe, more secure? All those kinds of things you'll be considering. That's why it's really important to consider these things, learn more about yourself before you even begin to look at the different careers, so that you can make that informed choice and find a career that's fulfilling and not one that you're just putting in your time. All right, let's move on to the next screen.
Okay, I'll let you take over screen sharing then,
Okay.
Dr. Gerkin.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, I'm screen sharing. You're seeing my screen, I assume.
Yes.
But I can't advance it, so
Use the arrows
there we
sometimes.
go.
There we go.
Okay.
We're still working. Oh, I'm the behind the scenes making everything work right. So
You are.
blame me if something doesn't work right, but I think we're on track.
All right, let's take a look at some of the assessments. That what we just did, that activity was an informal kind of assessment. There's some more informal assessments that we can direct you to from the counseling department. These are some free ones available online, and I'm going to talk about these a bit, and then we'll talk about some more later as well. So I'm going to post the slides in chat at the end of the workshop show, so you'll have these links to these assessments. The first one, you'll learn about your personality type and the careers that fit your personality. With the second one, AZCIS, you can assess your values, your interests, and your skills, and find careers that fit these aspects of yourself, as well as colleges that offer majors for those particular careers that come up for you. And with the last one, My Next Move, you'll learn which of the 6 interest areas fit you best and get information about specific careers that fit your interests. So let's take a look at My Next Move. That's a good place to start. My Next Move has an interest assessment called the Interest Profiler, which is a great place to start learning more about yourself and which careers fit your VIPs. In this case, your interests. To take the My Next Move Interest Profiler assessment, when you go to that website, this is what you'll see, and you'll press Start under Tell Us What You Like to Do. If you look at those 3 boxes in the middle of your screen, you'll see the far right box says Tell Us What You Like to Do. Click on the Start button. Then you'll get some instructions on how to take the assessment. Very quick, very simple. One important thing to remember is that it's not a pass-fail test. There are no right or wrong answers. You'll get the most helpful results if you answer as honestly as possible and don't overthink your answers. Kind of go with your first hunch. Next, you'll answer 60 short questions by rating how much you enjoy doing certain activities or tasks. This is a very accurate way of getting at your interests. For example, under Build Kitchen Cabinets, you might say the big smiley face, I love doing that. Or on the other end, I hate doing this, I would never want to do that. Or somewhere in the middle. When you finish answering all of these questions, you'll get your results. And the results will show you 2 or 3 areas of highest interest. In this example, the 3 areas of highest interest are enterprising, social, and artistic, in the order as indicated by those scores. You'll see that enterprising has the highest score of 33, followed by social with 29, and conventional with 26. And you see the blue text where you have those 6 interest areas. When you click on each one of those, for example, you click on social, it'll give you a description. What does that mean that I'm interested in social things? And so you can get a good sense of what those things mean. You actually will be able to search on those interests to find careers. So it's important to write this down. This program is a free online program, as I said, so it does not save your results. So in this case, if this were your profile, you'd want to write down my interest areas: enterprising, social, conventional. Okay, very important. Make sure you note that if you're taking notes. Okay, so the next part of this, if you'll notice right next to results, you'll see job zones at the bottom of that box, of that big box. The job zones, I'm not going to go into that right now, but what it's going to ask you is it will narrow down your list of careers by you choosing the amount of education and training needed for those careers. I'm going to suggest that you choose the highest level of job preparation, as I did for this example, so you get the longest possible list of careers that fit your interest. You can always narrow down your list later. It's going to ask you to choose little preparation, which might be just a few college classes, all the way up to the highest level of preparation, which might be an advanced graduate degree after your bachelor's degree. It might be a master's or a doctoral degree. Okay. Next, you'll get a list of careers that fit your interest. In this case, you can see arbitrators, mediators, and conciliators is the first one on the list. Chief executives, clinical nurse specialists, education administrators. And that's just the first small group of them. There's 14 that actually came up from this assessment. Those are the first 6. You will click on each one of these careers to learn about it. Then it will tell you very detailed information, the job, duties, the pay, the education required, and more. You'll write down the careers you're interested in, and even those you think you might be interested in. So from this list, if I'm this person and I'm looking at this, I've just taken this assessment, I might say, oh, clinical nurse specialist, I want to write that one down. Investment fund managers, I'm not sure, but I want to find out more about that, so I'm going to write that one down. Okay. Remember, this program doesn't save your results, so be sure to list the careers you want to follow up with and get more information on. Also, you want to bring that list of you want to bring your career, your interest areas, those 2 or 3 areas of highest interest, as well as the list of careers you may want to get more information on. We're hoping that you will make a follow-up appointment with me or with Dr. Mitzi Brysacz or one of the other counseling faculty at GCC. Right now we're doing those appointments online. We hope that you will contact us and we'll give you that information later on how to do so. You can find out more about these careers on websites as well, and I'm going to encourage you to do that as well, even before making an appointment to come see us. I've included some of the best career websites that I'm going to share with you on the resources slide towards the end. And remember, I'll share these slides with you at the end of the workshop. Now, we've been talking about interests for a while. Let's talk about values. The very first letter of your VIPs, the V, stands for values. So let's take a look at these. Security, freedom, achievement, money, prestige, relationships, family, helping others. In that first group, I noticed some that you've already listed, and when I asked you to think about yourself and what you've learned from previous careers and so forth, some of you mentioned things like relationships and family. So as I read through the rest of this list, be thinking about which of these really fit me, which of these are most important to me in choosing a career. Being productive, compassion, having fun, taking risks, making a difference, facing challenges, appreciating nature. Those are just some of the values to consider when choosing a career. In the chat, I want you to write down your top 3 values from this list. The 3 values most important to you in a career. You may add others not on this list as well, but I want you to list 3 values in the chat. And then Dr. Mitzi Brysacz is going to read some of those to me and sort of summarize it for me before we move on.
So we have family, freedom, money, security, productive. Lots of people are responding, which is
Good.
awesome. Making a difference is showing up a lot. Helping others is showing up. I keep seeing freedom, making a difference, having fun. Achievement, not as much, but that's showing up as well. Helping others, making a difference. Money, productivity, security, relationships, compassion. So on a quick glance, what seems to be coming up the most is making a difference, money, and family as I scroll through this, with most other things tossed in here and there. I don't think I saw taking risks.
Okay. Are people still adding?
6 new messages. Let me see. I think there is somebody that said taking risks. Thank you. It looks like people are pretty much finished. Some people said only one, some said three, and some
Mm-hmm.
said five.
Oh, great. So we'll probably average out to 3.
Right.
Well, in hearing that, a lot of you are saying family and relationships. Those are values that apply obviously to our whole lives, right? They apply to careers, but they obviously apply to our lives outside of our careers. We can have personal relationships outside of careers, but the relationships that we have in careers are very important as well. You're going to spend most of your time after college in the workplace, more time than you're going to spend with your family, with anything else in your life. So those relationships are very, very, very important. I can tell you, and I think Dr. Mitzi Brysacz will agree, based on our experience, that the relationships you have at work are one of the most important factors in job satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
You can love the career, you can love the duties that you do every day, you can love the money that you're making, the lifestyle that you have. But if the relationships are no fun, the people are no fun to be around, there's kinds of people aren't getting along, it's difficult to get your work done because of the relationships, uh, you end up looking for another job because that is one of the very most important things. So that's something to consider is and how important relationships are to you. Do you like to work more alone? Do you like to work with people all the time on teams? Do you like to have a good mix of the two? So as you're researching the careers, those are things to consider. And those of you that said family and some of you that said money, I've often heard students say that, well, I want a career that makes a lot of money because family is important to me and I want to have enough to support my family to have a good lifestyle. So that's the way some of those things fit together. Things like making a difference, helping others, compassion. People with those values often end up in the helping professions. Things like teaching, nursing, being a doctor, working for a nonprofit, being a social worker. There's lots of careers where your primary function is helping others. So this just gives you a little bit of a sense. If you do the actual values assessment on AZCIS, one of those I recommended, you'll have even more values and maybe a more deep and rich assessment of those. But this gives you a taste of what that looks like and gets you to begin thinking in terms of values and interests and so forth and how important those are to choosing a career that's a good fit for you. Let's talk about some of the next steps that you'll do after the workshop. What I'm going to suggest that you do next is complete the My Next Move interest profiler. We just went through that. I gave you an example of what that looks like. So that should be easy for you to complete just by going to mynextmove.org. That's not the complete be-all, end-all of careers. So it's not, well, these 14 careers came up for me and that's all I can choose, or I only got 12. I have to choose one of those. It's just a starting point. It's a good starting point. And it's only looking at your interests. Remember, there's values that we just talked about, interest, personality, and skills to consider. So just remember, this is just a small piece of the puzzle, and it's a starting point. So even if you do this assessment and 15 or 20 careers come up and you read about them all and you hate all of them, you absolutely don't want to do any of them, what do? You quit and walk away and you just randomly choose a career? No, please don't do that. It's just a starting point. Please come and make an appointment, call or send an email. Make an appointment to see me or Dr. Mitzi Brysacz or one of the other excellent counselors, our colleagues in the department. We all work on careers with students. So please follow up with us, and there are many other assessments we can give you You can take the other 2 assessments that I gave you as well. And there's others. If you want to go even more in depth, we can suggest. So as you're taking this My Next Move interest profiler, write down your top interest and your top careers that you're most interested in, because remember, it doesn't save those for you. Research these careers on the OOH or the ONET and take notes. Now you may be asking, what is the OOH and what is the ONET? I haven't talked about those yet. So the OOH and ONET, I'm going to give you the links to those on the resources slide coming up soon. The OOH is the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and the ONET is the list of occupational information. They both draw from the Department of Labor, which is the most current and most comprehensive source of career information that's out there. It comes from the federal government, and they get that data from people in all the different careers, from employers, companies, corporations, organizations all over the U.S. The Occupational Outlook Handbook, as I said, they both have roughly the same information, but they're formatted differently. The OOH is, most people find it more user-friendly, easier to navigate. There's tabs that you can click on. There's often photos and videos included. The ONET is more of a linear list type of form. You're going to be sort of scrolling, doing a lot of scrolling down the page to get to the information. Probably a little more detailed than the ONET, but not quite as easy to access. But you can use either or both as you're researching your careers. Finally, make an appointment with me, Dr. Mitzi Brysacz, or another counseling faculty member to continue the process. All you have to do is call this number or send an email to counseling@gcc.az.edu, and that will get to our staff, who will make an appointment with the counselor you ask for, or whoever's available, whoever you'd like to work with, that can match the time you have available. When you meet with me or Dr. Mitzi Brysacz or one of the others, we'll guide you through the career process. Our goal is to help you navigate the process until you make an informed decision on a career. First, we'll go through the results of your My Next Move interest profiler, if you take that first. We'll help you decide if one of the suggested careers is a good fit for you, and if so, we'll take you through the next steps in the career process. If it's not a good fit, we'll recommend other assessments to give you a broader picture of your VIPs and career options. It's a good idea to start with a broad search of many different careers that fit your VIPs. Then we can help you narrow down your list of choices by looking at the pros and cons of each. We've got some tools, we've got some worksheets, some tools we can help you with. Here's an informal example here on the next slide. Here's some of the factors to consider. Let's say you're trying to decide between teacher and several other careers. Well, here's a good way to rate those. If you've done all the assessments on your values, interests, personality, and skills, then you've researched those on the OOH or the ONET, so you know about the job duties and so forth. You can use this rating scale of 1 is a very poor match, through 5 is an excellent match, and you can rate each one of those things. So in this example here for the career of teacher, the values is a very good fit because this student values education, the student values relationships, the student values helping others, and the student values achievement and hard work. So that's a very good fit for her values. How does it fit my interest? She is very, very interested in teaching. She came up with social as an interest, her highest interest on the My Next Move was social. That's a really good fit for teaching because you're working with people all day long. For personality, her personality type, one aspect of her personality was she was a very extroverted person. So the personality, she gave a 4. It fit her skills to the level of 2 because she hasn't done a lot with teaching, but she has some experience, a short time being a teacher's aide, so she gave that a 2. How much do I like the job duties? She loves everything she's read and heard about teaching and experienced as a teacher's aide, so she gave that a 5. Am I willing to get the education and training needed? She was willing to do the required bachelor's degree and the certification to do this job because she loved it so much, so she gave that a 4. is the pay enough for the lifestyle I want? She thought that, well, the pay was not as much as she would like, but it was enough as a single person to start out and to live. So she gave that a 3. Will there be enough jobs available? Well, there's a teacher shortage in Arizona right now, so there are lots of jobs available. She gave that a 5. So after her looking at herself and her VIPs, looking at reading about the careers, she was able to rate it, and that came up with a total score of, what was that total score, Dr. Mitzi Brysacz?
32.
If you have those up, it's 32.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn is the math expert among the two of us, and she can add more quickly than I can. So there's a 32. Now let's say another one that she was looking at was maybe a social worker, and she added up her scores on that, and it came up to 38. Okay, and then maybe a third one was a low score, like maybe a 20. So she can look at those careers on those scores and say, well, my 2 highest rated were teacher and social worker. Which one do I really want to do? And that's a good thing to talk over with the counselor, with the career counselor in the career center. It could be me in the counseling department. Could be Dr. Mitzi Bryce. Like, there's 8 more of us who are working on this, and we're there to help you. Okay, let's take a look at the resources. I mentioned the Occupational Outlook Handbook, the Occupational Information Network, or the ONET. There's also a couple of classes that we teach. Both of us teach these classes as well as our colleagues. CPD 150 is a 3-credit class called Strategies for College Success. We go through the career process, and we have you take several assessments, do the career research, and we help you do some activities in class and out of class to come up with a good career choice for you and help you decide on your major and start the educational planning process. In addition, we help you with other skills that will help you to be successful in college, like managing stress, managing test anxiety. There's just so much. There's a lot in that 3-credit class. We also teach a 1-credit class, CPD 150 AC, Educational and Career Planning. You'll go through the career process in that class. You'll take assessments. You'll do career research. You do lots of activities to help you make an informed career choice. So there's those 2 options that are listed in the Find a Class right now for the spring schedule. You've got several days and times to choose from. We also have several upcoming counseling workshops. The Need for Connection is coming up on November 2nd. Remote test taking and test anxiety on November 10th. And Healthcare Literacy and COVID-19 Contact Tracing on November 20th. Our colleagues in the counseling department are teaching these workshops, and I've seen their work on these, and it's going to be excellent. I highly recommend those workshops. You can get all the details at the link below, and you eventually will be able to get the recordings of the workshops that already have been done, including this one, and the one on transitions that my colleague and moderator, Dr. Mitzi Brysacz, did earlier. Those should be available soon at that link. If you have any questions, now is the time. Please post them in the chat. And if you are attending for honors or for a particular class where your instructor gave it as an extra credit assignment and you want proof of attendance, simply write extra credit in the chat. Your name will appear above it. And also list the name of the class or program. If it's honors, put honors. If it's a class, put the class name or number, like English 101, and your professor's name. Then we'll be able to verify that you attended so that you get your extra credit. Dr. Mitzi Brysacz, are we getting some questions?
No questions yet, but people who are here for extra credit. And one, Angeline, make sure that we know which class that's for. Can this count as a free choice activity for honors? I believe so. We'll give your name, Lenora, to the honors program, and then hopefully that will count.
I was moderating Dr. Mitzi Brysacz's workshop earlier, and there were some honor students who said they were doing this as a free choice activity. So that would lead me to believe that it is a choice.
Okay, and then I do see, Angeline, you did put the instructor, Math 142, and so Jazz, I'm assuming your math class is 142 as well. Or maybe not. That looks like that same teacher does 220. So far, are we able to get the PowerPoint slides? Yes, Dr. Gerkin is going to put a link to a PDF of the slides in here before we finish. So make sure you take that and download it before you leave.
Yeah, before you leave, if you want the slides, please wait. I'm having a technical difficulty with that at the moment. I'm going to get some help with that. So if you'll stay in touch with the participants, I'll be right back.
Okay, sure.
Mitzi, Brysacz, I'll be
And
right back.
Mariah, you said, what if you're in the workshop for ACE? Yes, we can let ACE know that you are here. Mariah just has G, so you might want to tell us your last name too. Great. It looks like Brian Bird's students are very willing to accept his recommendation to come to workshops. We're glad. Are you able to do this presentation prior to spring 2021 for students for more than GCC students too? So Sandra, that might be Sandra from district that I'd had some communication with before. So if so, Sandra, go ahead and write back to me. We can handle that. And class. Yay, Lizzie, congratulations, you're an alum. Woohoo.
Okay, I'm
Our
getting close.
only...
I'm having to recreate that PDF, and I will should have it in about a minute or two.
Okay, great. And our appointments only online, or can we go in person? So we are doing, as Dr. Gerkin mentioned, we are doing phone appointments. We are doing video chat appointments, but right now we do not have any in-person counseling appointments. But if you want to at least see us, we can do a video chat with you. And no, Isaac, it doesn't matter which counselor you set up a meeting with. As Dr. Gerkin mentioned, there are 10 of us, and any one of us can help with the things that Dr. Gerkin mentioned. Okay, so more people here. Dr. Gerkin, here's a question for you. What is the more valuable thing when looking for a career? What is more valuable thing when looking for a career? Did we lose you again? He might be away. So I will see if I can address that. As Dr. Gerkin has been mentioning that, VIPs, the VIP. So we think it's important to find a balance in those values, interests, personality, and skills. You might even think of it as your hand, and you're trying to find sort of the sweet spot in the palm of your hand where your values, interests, personality, and skills come together. And then anything else that you need to consider. Sometimes if you have children that you're caring for, parents that you're caring for, or if you have a criminal record, or there's a whole number of things that might impact, that are part of who you are, and they may impact the choices that you make. So it's really important to look at all of those things, find the sweet spot, and at some point in your life, maybe the most important thing is one of these digits and not the others. So at one part of your life, it may be that family is the most important, and you take the job track that is most consistent with your family life. So let's see if there are other questions. 2 questions. The first one's off topic, but does GCC offer a driver's ed class? Not that I know of. 2, are there easy scholarships for high school juniors to do? Easy scholarships. There is a lot of money available, Shauna. There's over $3 million of scholarship money available every year for GCC students. I'd encourage you to work with the financial aid office, and on our page to look up scholarships because the money's out there, and every year, unfortunately, some of that money goes unawarded. So please, not just Shauna, but everybody, consider the scholarship opportunities. Here is a question somebody was asking, should I take CPD 150 or the one credit CPD 150 AC? Could you share a little bit more comparing those two? Dr. Gerkin, are you back? Would you like to
I'm
take that
back, and
question?
my assistant is helping me get this PDF file. I think it's going to have to be sent to you, Lynn, to your email, and then you can
Okay.
post it. Will that work?
Okay, sure. Would
Okay.
you like to take this question then
Yes.
from Madeline? It was the difference between the
Mm-hmm.
150 and the 150 AC.
Yes. CPD 150 is a 3 credit course, and it's a comprehensive college success course. So it allows you to learn about all the skills and attitudes and behaviors you need to be successful in college, including motivation, self-awareness, managing stress, managing your time, all the kinds of obstacles that college students typically run into, especially in the first or second year of college. Um, Helps you learn how to navigate college successfully, and it includes some study skills like note taking, test taking, coping with test anxiety, all of those kinds of college success skills, as well as an orientation to the kinds of support and different programs and student services we have at the college that you may not know about, that you may need at particular times in your college career. Uh, in addition to that, it includes career development, which you'll be taking some of the assessments similar to the ones I told you about in this workshop to learn more about your VIPs, your values, interests, personality, and skills. Then you will learn about different careers. You'll have assignments that you are to research careers that fit your VIPs. And then for purposes of the class, you'll choose the career, and hopefully that's the career you want in real life as well. You'll choose a career, and you'll usually have some kind of final paper or project or presentation about your career choice and what you've learned about being successful in college. So then the CPD 150 AC, the 1 credit course, it's similar to just taking that career component of the CPD 150 and teaching that on its own. So it's just the career development and educational planning. So once you've chosen a career, you begin to plan your education in terms of, well, what's my major then? If this is my career, what major goes with that career? And then at some point, we then hand you over to the advisors in the academic enrollment center, the academic advisors, because they're the ones who then will work with you on your field of interest and your major and what are all the exact classes I need to take to follow that pathway and to earn that major, either earning a degree at Glendale or transferring to a university and then getting my degree there, my bachelor's degree. Okay, so that's pretty much the overview of those 2 courses.
There's a couple more questions, a very specific one from Gregory, and I'm going to encourage you, Gregory, to have a conversation with somebody. He's trying to decide between diversifying his career for 3 years or working in a particular job for 3 years in the beginning of his master's program. But that would take, I think, more exploration to be able to give you an answer on that. But it would be exploring your VIPs. How can I apply for scholarships as a high school junior? Again, I would refer you, you can't apply just yet actually as a high school junior, but I would refer you to the financial aid office and again remind you that there's over $3 million every year for students. I was able to post a PDF of today's workshop, so it's in the chat. So if anybody wants that, it's in the chat for you. And it looks like there's one more question. As a community college student, what are some networking opportunities available for business students in light of the global health pandemic? Great question. Do you want to take that, Dr. Gerkin? Here I am running off with your question.
Well, I think that's one that's best. My response would be that would be best to have a discussion with me, Dr. Brysacz, one of the other counseling faculty. Those are the kind of questions we can get in depth on and have an individual conversation and direct you to some specific resources. But I don't have a spur of the moment answer to that. Do you have one, Dr. Mitzi Brysacz?
I think I don't. My answer is to check with Career Services. They're doing an excellent job of um, having guest speakers in who are doing so. So there's a lot of networking opportunity. Getting on LinkedIn for networking opportunities. Our Career Services team is great. We share a building, and they have a lot of information on social networking that they could help you with. Gregory's asking for our phone number, and I'm just blanking on it. 623-845-3064.
3064. And that's on the
Okay.
slides too. You can
Yes.
call that number, Gregory, or you can use that email. That emails to our staff who make the appointments. So either one of those is good.
And we have just 1 minute left. So, Dr. Gerkin, any last comments?
Just want to thank everyone for attending. I'm so glad you all came and that you were active participants. I hope you learned something useful, and I hope that you will follow up and make an appointment to come in and see one of us and start really making this journey through the career process. It's not quick and easy. As I said, that was one of the myths I busted up front. A lot of students hope that it's quick and easy, and I understand that. I would have hoped that too at that point, but I've seen so many people try to take the quick and easy route, and then I end up seeing them 5 or 10 years later coming back to choose a new career because they didn't take the time to learn about themselves and do the career research the first time through. So I encourage you all to do that. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.